This week's group of radical British rockers were signed on their second ever show on April 5th, 1994, the exact same day that Kurt Cobain died. Actually, they were signed by a major Cobain fan who almost didn't even go to the show, but when he went and managed to forget all his troubles and have a really great time, he knew he just had to get these guys signed. They're named after a black and white jungle animal that nobody messes with, and they combined it with a reference to a Jamaican cartoon character that's sort of a spider combined with a man, not a Spider-Man. This comes from their lead vocalist, Skin's background of having Jamaican parents, and I believe growing up a little bit in Jamaica as a child. She combines with bassist Cass and guitarist Ace to present a undeniably unique approach to rock, and combining that with their electric live performances, they took the better half of the late 90s by storm. Unrelenting force style. Through One Little Indian Records, produced by Sylvia Massey. This is their 1995 debut album, Skunk Anansie's Paranoid and Sunburnt. I failed to mention the drummer Robbie France earlier because this is the only album he performs with them on, and I don't think he's as associated with the band as Mark Richardson is. Regardless of the drumming, though, the slick and sticky strings are the exceptional complement that Skin's powerfully punctuated and aggressive vocals need. With this CD, they managed to create a brand new avenue for Britpop. Dubbed clit-rock by Skin, it's an in-your-face, politically charged combination of catchy, emotional rock that cuts straight to raw human emotions. Through frustration and rage and rejection and sadness, they've created a powerful, adrenaline-fueled cry for justice that's magnetism is undeniable. They don't hold back, starting out with the heavy, standoffish Selling Jesus. Great momentum right out of the gate with some fantastic guitars, and there's a ironic sort of feel-good bar in the chorus about selling love. It's a blatant attack at the corruption of the church and its overuse as a tool to manipulate and placate. They're making it clear right away that they're not going to beat around any bushes with this album. Placing racism in her crosshairs, Skin's vocals, and the bass-centered approach on Intellectualize My Blackness fucking rocks, man. They've got chemistry similar to Cletus and Flea with a to-the-point chorus that just hits super hard. 2 tracks in and I'm hooked. I Can Dream drops down an octave, slows it down a bit, but keeps it heavy. It's a great template for all that emo rock that would grow throughout the late 90s and kind of transform itself into the skate rock of the early 2000s. Interesting cut here, but not nearly as memorable as the opening numbers or the radical next one. Little Baby Swastika is a direct assault on racism, fascism, and the effect it has on influencing children. Methodically cranking up the intensity as it goes, it highlights the group's desires to stomp out the indoctrination before it infects the innocent. Back to a more standard hard rock cut titled All in the Name of Pity. There's some more rock-solid performances here. Lyrically, and the way it sort of progresses reminds me of a different approach to Rage Against the Machine's Bulls on Parade. They've got the building, you did it all, did it all in the name of, and they drop it. Pretty radical stuff. I dig this one a lot. While I'm continually impressed by Skin's vocal performances, I'm blown away on Charity with her range and Whitney Houston-esque inflections. You go through these emotional heavenly highs and these intense earth-shattering lows on this track. You've got to try it out. Moving on to the more self-aware, it takes blood and guts to be this cool, but I'm still just a cliche. Jammier, looser, it's reminiscent of that earlier raw Chili Peppers, but sort of combined it with the intensity and the roughness of that early 2000s rock that was starting to come back and swing again. Now you've got probably their most radio-friendly hit besides the closing track. This is Weak. It's about an abusive relationship, and on its own, I probably wouldn't have a whole lot to complain about it, but after all those really successful, adventurous rock experiments, this kind of just feels bland and a little overproduced. Wrapping up the last few tracks with the sort of basic Rage Against the Machine inspired And Here I Stand. Then you've got the lower key, dramatic, reflective, 100 Ways to Be a Good Girl before the album sends you off with some helpful rock and motivation. The final song, Rise Up, is an uplifting, soulful send-off to an emotional album experience. Great lines that come into the chorus, like, "You don't have to run," and the chorus comes in, "You got to rise up, sweet woman child." Super powerful stuff. Maybe even a little Nirvana nod with the Nevermind being repeated a few times in one of the verses here. Skunk Anansie released 2 more very successful albums before the turn of the century. They then took a break to stretch their musical chops in new directions, but they've since reunited and released 3 more studio albums over the past decade. They've topped it all off with a 25th anniversary 25-track live compilation album that came out last year. I am certainly a sucker for a powerful, dynamic vocalist, gritty, expressive guitarist, and a funky, fresh bassist. This is such a great combination to get me to look deeper into a band. This and the combination of them being such a great live band has me just itching to have festivals back, to have just the slightest possibility of maybe ever actually seeing these guys in concert. I gotta admit something pretty embarrassing. I had the ideal hat for this video. Maybe I'll post a picture of it here if I'm feeling brave. Either way, it was a skunk hat. It was literally a skunk with a tail and everything. It was perfect, but back in 2013 I threw it at Macklemore. I tried to get it on his stage while he was singing Thrift Shop or something, and just wanted to wear my hat, but didn't work out. I never got the hat back. He never wore the hat. I actually had to catch him when he crowd surfed. I'm a little guy, and everyone around me really didn't do a lot of their part, and I really nearly dropped the guy. Regardless, have you guys ever seen Skunk Anansie live, or have any nostalgic experiences from listening to them back in the 90s? Let me know down in the comments. If you haven't heard this album, it's in the description, and you better give it a go, because I think it rips. Thank you so much for watching. If you're this far in the video, I've got subscription stuff over here, maybe a playlist or whatever over here. Smash the like button, cause it takes blood and guts to be this cool. But I'm still just a cliche. Just a cliche. Just a cliche. Hey!